Hello and welcome to the World F3 Championship Round 7 here at Donington Live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me this evening is Lee Thompson with Sam Kumo on the cameras. And Lee, it should be a good race. This a classic circuit, a really good circuit, I feel, in these F3 cars. And judging by what we saw at Imola with the pack closer than ever, I think we're going to see a very competitive field today.
Yeah, absolutely. What a historic British circuit that we get to enjoy this week, and of course a classic circuit for the F3s as well. I'm sure the British Formula 3 Championship has been here many times over the years, if not decades, I'm sure. And as I said, I feel like this is going to be a circuit that hopefully the guys can deal with a lot easier than Imola. It looked like it was just such a tough ride for them last week, dealing with the bumps and the curbs especially, that Donington, while still tricky to drive, hopefully is going to be a bit kinder to these cars. So yeah, looking forward to it for sure. Yeah, we haven't got the largest grids, unfortunately, as this series is just struggling a little bit with the trickiness of the car in the iRacing service generally. But 9 cars on the grid, and qualifying is looking very close at the front. So I'm looking forward to some decent racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to sign up to this series, we've got 3 more rounds still to go, so certainly worth signing up. And I imagine you'd be getting an entry fee for pretty much nothing for the final few rounds. I know at the start of the season it was £20, so it'll be barely anything now. Just a few rounds of the season to go in the championship. Pete Spayman just extending that lead continuously, has been absolutely dominant. Apart from the first round at Spa where he suffered a DNF, he has been absolutely faultless for these first 6 rounds. Kevin Ellis unfortunately isn't here today. First meeting he's missed, and so that might just rule him out of championship contention. And unfortunately, Paul Ilbig also is not around today. It gives an opportunity for Nicholas Rasmussen and Alex Simpson maybe to promote themselves. They are currently in 4th and 5th positions, respectively, in the championship. As Simpson actually just playing in a lap time right now. In fact, sorry, Ilbig is here. Apologies, Paul is here, so a very good opportunity for him to move up ahead of Kevin Ellis today in the championship. He's currently out qualifying Alex Simpson, only just behind Pete Spayman by half tenth of a second. Can Simpson improve on this lap? No, he can't. In fact, was 1.5 hundredths slower than his best time. Nicholas Rasmussen pretty close to him as well. And then we've got Miles Clotesley, Michael Aduka, Matt Bunn, Trevor Clement, and Josh Rayfield rounding out the fielders. Just enter the final 5 minutes or so of this qualifying session. Simpson goes for yet another lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's going to be looking super busy here at the front, isn't it? Um, just over half a second between the top 4 cars at the minute. Nicholas Rasmussen in 4th to Peter Behrman up in 1st. And it's even looking pretty tight then for like a second little pack, if you like, behind that for the rest of the grid. So Donington, it's they're using the full length here, fortunately, so not just the short national circuits. We see them heading down towards Melbourne hairpin at the minute as we watch Alex Simpson. Couple of good opportunities for overtakes here, of course. So Melbourne hairpin is certainly going to be one of the key ones. Opportunity on that hard braking zone to get it done. And places like the Craner curves, these aero cars are going to have to be a bit of fun to drive, I think, down that little sequence there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's particularly the first part of this circuit is absolutely superb. I must say, I would have loved to drive the circuit that they proposed back in 2009, I believe it was, when they got the contract for the British Grand Prix, and they were going to have a massive extension to keep this part of the circuit crucially, but then extend it massively. It would have been fascinating to see what the track would have been like, but unfortunately those didn't quite go through, but we have been left with this fantastic layout regardless. Like you said, slightly different layout to the shorter one. I believe this is the GP layout rather than the national layout, and it really does allow the F3 cars to stretch their legs. Barely any slow corners. Maybe those last couple of corners are a little bit slow, but the others is just absolutely blowing around this circuit. Still, top 2 separated by half tenth of a second. Simpson just running a little bit wider. This is going to have to be some lap from him if he's going to find himself on the front row of the grid. If anything, it's better for him just to try to improve to pull away from Nicholas Rasmussen behind him currently. And course, the setups we always talk about, Lee, how much downforce these drivers are running, and I think this is quite an interesting circuit for that because that first half of the
Mm.
circuit, it's quite, or certainly it's potentially flat out for the most part in this car. But of course, you don't want to run the wing too low, otherwise you could, really lose control of the car quite spontaneously.
Yeah, so it's really just going to be a circuit of compromises, isn't it? You're going to want that downforce to make sure the car's stable through craner curves and, as you say, that first half of the lap. Whereas then once you get to stretch your legs a little bit later on, then yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that balance is. That compromise that the guys are having to do. You with your eagle eye of rear wings might be able to spot some differences. It certainly looked like Alex has got a narrower rear wing than the car that just came past directly in front of him out of pit lane, for instance. So for sure, it looks like there's some differences out there, but be interesting to see how, again, maybe that ebbs and flows during the race, and again, how many differences there is between qualifying. An ultimate aero package for a lap versus one that is going to allow you to try and make overtakes and actually make progress in a race itself. It could be a little bit of variation
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Yeah, of course, the rear wings isn't the only thing. It'd be really nice if it was the only thing, but I've kind of
It's a
learnt
bit you
from the
can see.
drivers. Yeah, I've kind of learnt from the drivers that actually it's a bit more than the rear wing. It's actually about the kind of the air package as well, and why they can just just make the rear wing the only thing you can adjust on the car. It'd be much easier to identify what setups are going on. So you can't see all of it, but you're absolutely right, Lee, in terms of it certainly does give us an idea of their mentality, at least, in terms of how much downforce they're running. Paul Ilbrink managed to improve. He was 6/100ths off pole position. He's now 4/100ths off. And in reality, it's probably not going to really benefit him whatsoever that slightly improved laps, no matter how consistent they are. As, yeah, Alex Simpson once again starting a new lap and
Yeah, Peter
just
Peter
going wide
Behrman
a little bit.
last time. Sorry, Sam. Peter Behrman last time by just missed out on his best lap by half a tenth, and got the quickest sector 4 of the session as well. So he certainly was on pace, but just maybe didn't quite manage to hook up the opening part of the lap as much. But look how close it is now, as you say, between Ilbrink and Behrman, 400ths of a second as a result of that new fast lap from Ilbrink. So Berriman, might need to make a step up if he doesn't want to allow Ilbrink a chance to sneak in there. It doesn't look like Ilbrink's on a massively hot lap at the minute. We can see those yellow sectors in the timing at the bottom of the screen. But again, if he's only a touch off it, then a purple final sector could be all the difference anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really
And it
nice up.
wasn't.
So far for Simpson, but yeah, that third sector just letting him down a bit. And yeah, about quarter of a second actually lost for Simpson. It's odd that he's losing quite a bit of time through sector 3s and 4 from what we've seen so far. Probably very
Simpson's
similar
looking pretty good though.
setups. Yeah,
Purple second sector, personal best third and fourth, and he's just off his personal best. So that first sector just let him down a fair bit then, considering the other three were all fastest sectors for him, and sector 2 fastest overall. But yeah, 600ths off his previous fastest attempt.
in
So
fact,
just a
actually, that
couple of
was.
cars left.
Yeah, so I was just about to say how that was actually a personal best time through each sector, but he got it invalidated. I think on the first corner, I think he ran
Uh,
wide, picked up a 1x. So, unfortunately, I'm not good enough at maths, I think, to quickly add up those sector times. But I think he would have been a bit closer to the drivers ahead. I don't think he would have been quite on the front row of the grid, but he would have been right there or thereabouts. So, I think we'll out Simpson in this race coming up.
Yeah, so just waiting for the session to complete and then we can confirm the starting grid. I don't think anybody is actually on a lap anymore, just waiting for the session to move on. So we're going to have our two races as normal tonight. And, there's not really any strategy, of course, in these races, the length that they are going to be running at. But certainly, again, as we said, could be some differences with setup and lead you to start pushing and how cautious are you at the start of race to make sure you survive those opening laps. Going to be certainly some differences out there, I think, in approach. Right, so session has progressed. Cars are starting to grid up, so we can bring up for you the grid for the opening race of the evening.
Yes, and it's Peter Bowman once again claiming pole position. He's been absolutely dominant in qualifying so far this season. Only half tenth clear though of Paul Ilbrink. Then it's Alex Simpson in third. Fourth is Nicholas Rasmussen. And it's very close behind him. Miles Clotesley, Michael Abducker, and Matt Bunn in seventh place. Then it's Clement and Rayfield. Rounding up this 9-car field, a little bit lower, as Lee was saying earlier on, than we've got accustomed to in this series. But I'm sure we're still going to see some very entertaining races as well. Who's going to be able to finish out on top? Because Paul Ilbrink, I think so far this season, still hasn't won a race. He came so close at Monza. Could this be his second chance of the season? We're about to get underway here at Donington in the World F3 Championship. And away we go, a big jump start
Oh,
at the
jump
back. I'm
start.
not sure if that was Clotesley or maybe Bunn, I believe it was actually. But it's a nice start for Berryman, certainly. He's pulling away from Ilbrink, going into turn one. Bad start for Simpson. He's really under pressure there, but doesn't lose too much time in the end. Just loses out to Nicholas Rasmussen. Good start for Docker, gets ahead of Clotesley. And then Bunn, I believe, was the one who jumped the start. You can see how close Ilbrink straight away is to the back of Peter Berryman, using that slipstream to his advantage. As round the outside there goes Michael Evdoka of Alex Simpson. That's a great move there from Evdoka for Fitzstone Motorsport, and moves ahead. And now Simpson is going to lose another position potentially to Bunn. This is a horrendous start for the Englishman, but fortunately he just moves ahead momentarily and yeah, does establish that 5th position.
Yeah, Matt Bunn super close to making that move there, trying to go around the outside, but in the end just couldn't quite hang in there. And Simpson gets a bit of a breather to try and regain some composure, maybe down 2 spots, as you said, from his grid spot. Michael Ivdoka in comparison up to, say, he's in that 4th position now. And at the front, Peter Berryman, Paul Ilbrink, and Nicholas Rasmussen as they were.
So I think it was then Clotesley then who jumped the start. I think it was that car who's now sitting in 7th position. I guess we'll see if he comes into the pits on this
I
lap.
think it was going to be Matt Bunn. So Matt Bunn, I'm
Oh,
pretty
was it?
sure yellow car that jumped the
Oh, okay.
starts. So yeah, Matt Bunn looking pretty strong for now, but he's perhaps just racing for pride for a minute before he eventually has to take that black flag. So yeah, unfortunate for Matt. Easy done, but it's surprising we don't see it more often. To be fair, because yeah, certainly in a car like this, the F3, that start can really be your biggest opportunity to make up some braces in the whole race.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Matt Bunn looking aggressive still. He's got onto the back of Alex again through the opening section of the lap. You can see how it just maybe misses the apex slightly on that corner, and that just gives Alex 2 car lengths on Matt Bunn behind. Oh, and Matt Bunn steps out the rear on turn-in, can't
Oh,
catch
he's
it,
gone.
and has a spin. Yeah, so that's his challenge done, unfortunately, for race 1. But yeah, we just see the rear stepping away and turning.
Yeah, just needs to make sure that he finishes on the lead lap now so that he'll be eligible for the reverse grid in race 2. Because with the size of this grid, whoever finishes last in this race, who gets classified as down the inside goes Simpson. And that's pretty easy against Michael Abducker. Abducker just seemingly making a couple of mistakes on this lap because Simpson wasn't very close previously, but now moves ahead. But you can see at the time he's lost to Nicholas Rasmussen. Should be a nice duel between those two. Peter Bowman is pulling away from Paul Ilbrink, still 4/10 of a second faster on that lap. Ilbrink a further 4/10 faster than Rasmussen, who was about 8/10 faster than Simpson on that last one. But expect Simpson now that he has clear air in front of him start significantly improving those lap times. Interesting how advantageous the slipstream is down that hill, seemingly. The drivers just seem to be getting so close by the bottom of that hill. It just shows kind of how long the drivers are flat out through that section.
Yeah, as I just say, certainly a strong toe effect that the guys are seeing out here. Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to guarantee an opportunity for a move every time, but for sure they are putting themselves in a position to challenge. As you say, Alex now's got the opportunity to try and claw his way onto the back of Nicholas Rasmussen, but Michael Avdoka for the minute is along for the ride. He's certainly planning to have Alex pull him along up to Rasmussen. If not, just make a challenge on him straight away. Is almost he's close right up as they come up to the Melbourne hairpin. Thank you to Marvin there for the subscription on YouTube.
Yes, certainly. Thank you for that. And also, of course, check out our uh, Facebook page as well, and also Twitch channel. Certainly do like and follow all of our platforms. And also give this video a like as well. Would be very much appreciated. As Clotesley as well closing in a bit. In fact, in that on that last lap, Clotesley was 2 tenths of a second, apologies, faster than Simpson. So I don't know if Simpson's maybe got some aero damage there, but he seems to be losing a lot of time down the straights. That might just be the slipstream effect, but I feel like there's probably something more going on. He is just about breaking that toe now to Evdoka. He's extended to about half a second, which he has done in order to really start breaking away, but seemingly still losing quite a bit of time to Nicholas Rasmussen. Could only match him on that last lap. And everyone just kind of settling down now. You can see little gaps forming between each of the drivers. Right now, if anything, it is closely closing in on Evdoka, which is looking like the most likely move.
Yeah, as you say, certainly looking likely as Alex hasn't managed to pull away at all from Doka so far. Otherwise, so Klutzel's still certainly hanging in there. So it's this free car battle at the minute. Everyone else just spreading out by a couple of seconds or so, not really allowing any opportunity for further battles for the minute. Berryman, as you say, just 10th quicker last time by as well. But Ilbring did get a purple sector in sector 2. So they're both looking super strong. Only guys in the 19s all raced along so far, so they seem to be just that step above for now.
Yep, seemingly. Quite often see this kind of divide between qualifying and the race. Usually qualifying, these drivers can really stay up with the front runners. Then the race, really, that's the skill of the World Championship drivers. Remember, of Bayman and Ilbrink and Simpson as well, I believe. Of course, Apex Racing team. I think announcing their liveries and their team for the World Championship very recently. And I must say, the liveries do look absolutely superb, as they do on this Formula 3 car. It's not really helping Simpson too much at the moment, as Evdoka runs a little bit wide. Fortunately, he doesn't pick up a slowdown, seemingly. As, yeah,
No,
just slowing once again for the hairpin. And maybe you could go do an onboard lap with Evdoka, Lee.
I could do, but I'm just struggling with my cameras at the minute, so I'm only
Ah,
seeing
okay.
outboard shots. I'm afraid, so I may have to leave that to you, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm having a couple of issues with that as well, unfortunately. So that was a horrendous suggestion there from me. But certainly these three getting closer and closer on that last lap closely. In fact, yeah, 6 tenths faster than Simpson. There's no doubt, surely, that Simpson's got some kind of issue because he's not, driving too erratically. He looks quite confident through the corners, but for some reason he's just not pulling out these lap times as it stands, so about 1.5 seconds slower than his teammate, which is very unusual. Oh, have we just... sorry, I heard some tire squeak. Bayman's made a mistake through the
Oh wow.
chicane. A very unusual mistake. I thought I heard some tire squealing there through the chicane. And, well, 1.5 seconds a lap. It's left him neck and neck with Simpson. Now, will he go for the move? I seriously doubt it. But this is allowing now Docker to get even closer to the Apex Racing UK driver. And, yeah, we'll have to look back at what on earth happened to Bayman with that mistake.
Yeah, and here we go. Then replay coming up of Berryman as he works his way down the straight where the DRS would be for the bigger vehicles. So let's have a look. Then he's on the curb, turns in through the chicane, takes a good chunk of the second apex, and just runs out a road on the outside onto the grass and just insta spins. So yeah, it just looked like he went in a little bit too hot. Maybe first apex was good, second apex scruffy, and then ran out of road on the exit. So I was saying that Ilbrink and Berryman are the only guys in the 19, so it just looks like maybe Ilbrink was just pushing him that a little bit too hard, and Berryman just on the ragged edge, and in the end made that error. So he's currently in third, just a second behind Rasmussen, so he's got the opportunity to try and get that second place back. But Paul Ilbrink now is 5 seconds down the road.
Yeah, there's going to be some tough comeback from Bayern. We did see him spin at Imola, remember, last week, and somehow managed to come back, admittedly, due to a Kevin Ellis mistake. So I think, well, he's only 5 seconds behind. That spin didn't lose him too much time, and he'd already built up a bit of a gap. But first up, he's got to get past Rasmussen. Rasmussen usually runs quite low downforce. Today, from my eagle eye, seems to be running similar rear wing, I must say, to Peter. If anything, maybe a little bit more. So he's going to be under pressure down these straights. You can see Avdoka still pressurizing Simpson as well, but no move made between those two. You can just see how far Bayman's pulled away from Simpson in just a single lap. Quite extraordinary. As Rasmussen and Bayman are getting really close out there now. 0.2 of a second it fell down to. I think this is just a matter of time now.
Yeah, as you say, certainly Berriman very, very quickly got onto the back of Rasmussen. And last time round for Simpson, just as Berriman recovered from his spin, he ended up losing quite a bit of time. So almost a second and a half off the pace has really pushed him into Ivdoka and Klutzel behind. But as you say, Berriman looking like he's going to be able to get that second place back anytime soon as they come through that super, super quick chicane where we saw him have that error a lap ago. Is he going to get a run down into the hairpin? Not quite. He hasn't looked to the inside though, but he does make that move. What a late dive into the brakes it looked like. Can Rasmussen get the drive off the corner? Looks like he should just hang that inside line. I don't think Berriman's going to quite be able to hang on to that outside path. He's going to try a cut back and see if he can get the drive off the corner. So yeah, Berriman just looked a little bit too far back for the move in a hairpin, but he thought otherwise.
Yeah, just such a big braking zone down into that corner. Managed to go for the inside. Rasmussen very tight going into turn one. It's left him very vulnerable,
Oh,
just not being able to carry the speed through that turn one. And Bayman should be able to pull ahead unless Rasmussen can just keep his nose in there. Bayman tries to scare him off the circuit, and in the end he has the momentum anyway. So he's back up into second position. He's got 6.7 seconds to gain. He lost a crucial 1.5 seconds on that last lap to Paul Ilbrink. Just due to being held up by his rival. But now the chase can properly start, and yeah, he probably needs then. So we've got about 20 minutes to go, probably 15 laps. So yeah, about half a second. A lap as Avdoka goes off the circuit now, and that's going to lose him a position to Klotsley, who will stay ahead of his teammate Clement. But a big mistake there from Avdoka because he was quite comfortably staying up to Simpson.
he was. He was doing a great job of hanging with a world championship driver. Both these guys. But as you say, he was quite fortunate really with that off track. But it hasn't really cost him much time. So just that one position, it could have been a lot worse as we saw with Berriman earlier on. Yeah, Rasmussen with the when Berriman made that overtake on Rasmussen was pretty generous, giving him plenty of space on the outside of turn one on the exit. Could have really tried to have squeezed him out to the edge of the grass, but it was just nice clean racing. And as you say, Berriman, yeah, able to continue that move on. So let's see if Doku can really get onto the back of Miles now, because Miles was hanging with him just fine. And so is Miles going to try and take the opportunity to close on Simpson and look to make a move there? But as it really still in these three cars, the only battle that we've got going close. So actually, that time was quickest of all the cars, the two leaders that beat on the last lap.
He's had a really strong pace. Yeah, 3 tenths of a second faster than Simpson last time back 22, but that's by due to being overtaken by Bayman, of course. But Docker closing back in. He takes a lot of curb at that corner. Keep on thinking that he's going to get a slowdown, but so far, we haven't seen anyone fall victim of that. Taking a slightly alternative line, such a unique hairpin, that very much kind of a square hairpin there with the almost two 90-degree corners. But you'd certainly take it as one swing of the wheel. As a mistake there from Clotesley. You know what, he might just be okay here, but although giving his rival the inside line. Oh, and a spin for Clement as well in the background. So, if someone spilt some oil in that corner or what. But all of a sudden, chaos going on. And Clement actually having to come into the pits. Don't quite know what the reason for that is. He may well lose out to Josh Rayfield due to that. As Clotesley does lose out to Abdoka eventually. Now Docker will try to catch back up to Alex Simpson, but he is now 2 seconds off the race.
Yeah, it looked like a slightly unusual place really for Klotzel to kind of get caught out. So he obviously lost the rear of the car, but it's sort of strange how close to the inside it ended up. But he managed to get it snapped back under control. And if Dokovenia just had the drive all the way down the straight as the advantage, but that little battle there has really let Alex Simpson off the hook now. He's got plenty of breathing space to the cars behind. So now all of his focus can be on Nicholas Rasmussen, who is only a second further down the road. And so that is going to be all of Simpson's focus. And so now potentially we've got the opportunity for two separate little battles: Rasmussen and Simpson for the last podium spot, and Evdoka and Klotzel for the fifth position. So it'll be interesting to see how this keeps developing. As we can see how hard Rasmussen is pushing out that final corner there, just clipping up a little bit of grass to exit.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see a battle for the lead between Ilbink and Bayman. On that last lap, Bayman set a purple time, 7 tenths faster than Paul Ilbink. He needs to consistently be doing that, but in recent laps he's been failing to do that. He's still 5.5 seconds behind with half the race to go. So it's possible for him, like I said, 7 tenths of a second a lap should get him to the back of the Radicals online driver by the end of the race. But where it doesn't look too strong for him at the moment, he's struggling to really catch him at that rate consistently. As you're absolutely right, Simpson easing up to the back of Rasmussen. I don't know if maybe Rasmussen's picked up an issue, or maybe Simpson's fixed his issue, but all of a sudden lapping faster than Evdoka, and also just easing up to the back of the NHR Esports driver.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think it
think that's
certainly
going to be
looks like.
moved very soon.
Sorry, Sam. I certainly think it looks like Simpson's just upped his pace a little bit. So he was, running more sort of mid to high 20s, if not a little bit worse. And last time by it was a low 20, and I dare say this next lap is going to be the same, if not better. So yeah, Simpson's just got his mojo back a little bit, maybe after that really tough opening lap, losing those couple of positions. And for sure now, it's looking like he's going to be giving Rasmussen a hard time. What are the lap times like last time? By 20.85 for Rasmussen, 20.52 for Simpson. So yeah, another 3 tenths gained that time by, and but still, a couple of tenths off his previous lap move for Simpson.
Yeah, and Evdoka just extending that gap now to 8 tenths of a second over Clotesley. And yeah, if Evdoka can really keep up this pace, might just catch up to these two by the end of the race. By the end of the race, especially if they start fighting one another. Also, yeah, was 3 tenths of a second faster on that last lap. Now, where's Simpson's best opportunity going to be? Do you reckon it's going to be maybe into the hairpin? I guess that would be the obvious place because that's probably the biggest braking zone of the lap.
Yeah, we certainly saw Berryman make good opportunity of that a couple of laps ago. Oh, as Ovdoko hard into the wall on the chicane in the background. That car is going to be severely damaged, and it'll be interesting to see how he lost that. It look like it must have been very early in the chicane, so I dare say it's going to be on initial turn in as we look at the replay on board from the T cam. So I reckon he's going to turn in left here. Back's going to step out. We'll try and correct, and it'll spear him off. Let's see. Turns in, loses a rear on turn in, spins him into the wall. I thank you for the prediction. But yeah, that was unfortunate for Avdoka. I was just getting ready to comment on how good a job both Avdoka and Klurtzel were doing, because they were matching the guys ahead, if not just slightly quicker. And that's some cracking pace for those guys to be running. So yeah, unfortunate for Avdoka, that is him into pit lane for repairs. Simpson just closing to within 4 tenths now on Rasmussen for that battle for third. And Simpson was 2 tenths quicker last time back.
Yeah, you'll get a fast repair Will Evdoka, so this isn't the end of the world for him. He'll be able to get back out there and will be eligible, or should at least be eligible for the reverse grid later on. In fact, he's still in 6th position. He's only lost out to Clotesley, but like he said, he was him and Clotesley were driving really well, faster than these two drivers. And certainly left it up to a 2-car battle. Out in the lead, it'll bring 4.5 seconds ahead of Bayman. Let's compare lap times this time. I don't think there's going to be a big improvement here from Bayman. So gap now down to about 4.5 seconds. And that last lap, Bayman was 4 tenths faster. It's not quite enough. Like I said earlier on, he needs just over half a second a lap if he's going to do this. And just struggling to set those consistent low 19s currently that he really needs in order to snatch this win back. But undoubtedly, a lot of pressure on Paul Ilbrink, and you would not blame him one bit if he maybe did show an ounce of there's an ounce of nerves out there and maybe makes a mistake. But you can see sort of a decent gap to second place. Simpson getting really close now to Rasmussen, down to 0.2 of a second. Bit around this part of the circuit, pretty much impossible to go for me, and these drivers undoubtedly have a lot of respect for one another. Alex, in fact, said last week when he got involved with Joe, I can't quite remember who it was, but how it was kind of the other driver's fault, probably, but he could have done better to back out of it himself, which kind of shows his mentality of just absolutely surviving any situation. And certainly, rather than regretting after the race that someone's taking him out, rather than that, just accumulate the points. That's what he's done for the most part throughout the season. So too has Rasmussen. So no rash moves are going to be made between these two drivers, most likely. But Simpson really hasn't got himself into passing range so far. Rasmussen just completely error-free so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting. You say not in a passing position. It was interesting the onboard shot there with Simpson going through the S's. Nicholas Rasmussen ahead of him was much more cautious on entry to the chicane, and we saw Alex really close up very quickly under braking, more than just the natural accordion effect. But then that meant Rasmussen was able to get on the power way, way earlier and just deny Alex any opportunity whatsoever to being close enough for a move into the Melbourne hairpin. So that was looked actually sort of tactical from Rasmussen to deny that overtaking opportunity, and it certainly enabled him to stay ahead for one more lap. You were saying about Paul Ilbrink maybe feeling a bit nervous in the lead a minute ago. I feel a bit nervous for him watching as well, because only Ilbrink and Rasmussen that we've seen of the entire field are the only cars not to have made a mistake in this race that have cost them significant time. Every other car in the field have had a spin or a half spin that has cost them significant time. So Berryman knows that he needs to keep pushing hard and be there to capitalise in case Ilbrink does have a little issue at some point, and make the most of it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. On this lap, Bayman, in fact, matching to the 100th to
Mm.
Ilbrink. That's about half a second slower than the other laps that Bayman has been setting. So I think gap now down to 4.3 seconds. Just not doing enough right now at this rate. He's probably going to get to within about 2 seconds by the checkered flag, but that's not going to be enough for the Apex Racing UK driver. Of course, in this series, we are referring to them as Apex Racing UK rather than Apex Racing Team, because that's what they signed up under. So we'll be sticking with that. And they're still 0.3 of a second behind, just the exact same distance every single lap on that last lap. In fact, closely, 0.6 faster than these two drivers. 2 seconds the gap now. He could definitely be with these guys by the end of the race. What, 4 laps maybe it'll take him to catch. That'll leave him with a couple of minutes maybe to make the moves. But there's no doubt he cannot make another mistake, as we saw earlier on at the last corner.
Right, so let's see these two through the S's this time. How much of a difference is there in the drive? Again, it looks like Rasmussen just gets the drive off that corner so much. Simpson was really all over the back of him on the approach and just nowhere by the time they got to the braking zone for the hairpin. And Rasmussen seems to have that section of the circuit covered. I think Simpson's going to have to try and force a move somewhere else on the lap if he wants to get it done. And if that happens, perhaps that's going to create the opportunity for him for Klurtzl if Simpson has to try and stuff it up the inside somewhere. As you say, Klurtzl there, he's lurking just in the background, ready to mop up any spoils, and that would then be a podium position. So see how much Simpson closes through the opening section of the lap as they head down Trainer curves. All over the back of Rasmussen, tries to stick his nose, and he does. Rasmussen's going to be inside though, covers it off. Simpson's going to get a little bit of a cutback with that wider entry, and we can see the greater speed that he's got as they drive off the corner. Is there going to be any space for him? It's the same again. Rasmussen forcing him to the outside. He's much further ahead though, so Simpson's going to try and hold that outside line. It does. Oh, just I thought there was going to be contact right rear to front left, but they just about avoid it. Great racing for both of them. Rasmussen left just enough space on the exit there, and Simpson forced the issue, just like I said he needed to do, because he could see that move was just not going to be able to happen at Melbourne Hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely awesome move there from Alex Simpson. It was a bit risky. Could have easily understeered into him, could Nicholas Rasmussen, but fantastic respect, as I said earlier on, from the pair of them. And it has allowed Clatesy to close in a little bit, but not enough for him to be right on the rear wing of these drivers. And expect Simpson probably to start pulling away, although I've seen the slipstream effect quite strong around this circuit. And so maybe the NHR Esports driver will be able to keep up for a couple more laps. But I think we've got to look back at that overtake. In fact, maybe from Rasmussen's point of view, because there really wasn't too much he could do in response to that overtake from Simpson. As in fact, he gets very close to the Apex Racing UK driver himself. Looks to the inside, there's almost contact between the two of them. Once again, that slipstream effect just so strong. And once again, he's going to try to do the same that his rival did to him on the last lap. He's got the momentum, he's being able to pull ahead is Nicholas Rasmussen, and he's going to try the exact same move as Alex Simpson did, but
Touch
Simpson
wheels.
not leaving quite as much room. Miles Clately trying to get involved, trying to make his presence known to these two drivers. And he might even be able to sneak a position here, almost off the circuit there. Having to go is Clately, and he's now stealing the slipstream from Simpson. And pretty much boxed in now is that driver. So Rasmussen will take back that position. And awesome battling now. But the slipstream effect in that first half of the lap, just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rasmussen absolutely trying to replicate the move that Simpson made a lap earlier, as you said. Just the slightest of contacts wheel to wheel on exit, but they survive. And as you said, all of a sudden, three car battle now with Miles right in amongst there as well. And we got just over 6 minutes left of this race, and this is going to be where all of our focus is going to remain. Up front, it's looking like Ilbrink's got that pretty secure. Still that 4.5 to 5 second gap. So who's going to be getting this final podium spot? I think Klurtzel's had a little bit of an issue at the start of this lap. Unfortunately, he's dropped way back off.
Oh,
Rasmussen, here he
Rasmussen
comes up
going
the
for it here.
inside.
Down the
Ooh,
inside, puts Simpson offline. But unfortunately, oh, and has Cloaksley made a mistake there? Sorry, I thought I heard some tyre squealing. But no, just not quite getting the run out to that corner there was Rasmussen, despite putting Simpson offline. Kind of had to put his nose in there. He pretty much had nowhere else to go. But you can see he's definitely going to have chances in the remaining 3.5 minutes of this race. Probably got 3 more laps to go after this one. So he's got time, does Rasmussen. Certainly does seem as though it's that first half lap is going to be his best chance. But you can see as a little bit
yeah.
closer, as he
Here
was
we
saying
go.
earlier on, Lee, he gets a really good run out of that chicane. And he is going to go for the inside hit into the Melbourne hairpin. And absolutely neck and neck on the corner exit. Nice room left there from Simpson. And he'll have the inside for the final corner. And just pulling away a little bit on corner entry should be fine into turn one. But once again, going to be so vulnerable at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, Rasmussen looks so much more confident through the S's leading to that hairpin. And we could just see instantly as they came off the S's, just him closing straight away. So, fortunate for Simpson to be able to defend there. Rasmussen was in the position to get that move, and with that, that means Rasmussen's just going to have to claw back a little bit of space to recover from that move attempt, and that gives Simpson a little bit of respite in this opening section of the lap where we saw them work so hard just shortly ago. Both these guys say pushing super hard, but it's just costing them time. 1 minute 22's last time by for both of them. So again, if Klutzy can start hooking his laps up in again, he's going to be right in amongst it very soon again. And he has closed a little bit on this lap already with a personal best in sector 2.
Don't know if anyone at home would have heard, but just heard some engine noises. Just a driver getting back underway, which was Josh Rayfield just having a little bit of a spin at the hairpin a few moments ago. Crucially, one lap down now is Rayfield, so he won't be eligible for the reverse grid. Neither will be Matt Bunn, who retired earlier on in this race. Trevor Clement and Michael Abducker, despite their respective issues, should still finish on the lead lap, so will be on the front row of the grid for race 2 here at Donington. But race 1 is not over quite yet, and Rasmussen just seems to be struggling a little bit through turn 1, maybe the last corner as well, because that gap's extended once again. That last lap, in fact, Simpson was 1/10 faster, And if anything, it's closely now. He was
Yeah.
1 second faster than these drivers. Despite that mistake a couple of laps ago, he's going to have a chance at the Scandinavian with a few corners or with 1 lap to go. So because yeah, 1 more lap to go after this one. The Paul Ilbrink and Pete Bowman almost about to start the last lap. That's how far ahead they are of these drivers. The divide is quite incredible, especially from what we saw in qualifying when it was ever so close. And Rasmussen, yeah, it's weird. It's just a yo-yo every single lap. It's round this section, Simpson can pull away by about 0.4 of a second, but round that chicane, it seems like Rasmussen can straight away gain about 0.3.
Yeah, so it's just ebbing and flowing as we go by. But as you say, crazy to see how Kurtzley managed to close that last time by. He just all of a sudden has come from looking like he'd missed his opportunity to making this free car battle again. And if anything, Rasmussen is going to be the car under pressure over Simpson, as like I say, he's got that little bit of breathing space now for that third position. Now coming up to a back marker as well, so we'll see if this is going to mix things up at all. But yeah, Kurtzley looks like he's well and truly in the zone. Only the leaders who were lapping just marginally quicker.
Yeah, his tyres just don't seem to have degraded whatsoever, whilst the leaders are lapping about half a second lap slower than they were earlier on. He's just going faster and faster. You can see he's put his nose down the inside there. Might even have a chance into this next corner. But no, sticking behind Nicholas Rasmussen. Out in the lead, though. The gap's gone down to 4 seconds. Less than 4 seconds, in fact. But it is still Paul Ilbrink leading the way. And at round 7 of the season, he is finally going to take his first win of the championship. Paul Ilbrink for Radicals Online wins out here. Race 1 at Donington. Awesome
Right,
drive from him. Picked up
let's
the
switch
mistake
back
from
to
Bowman.
that battle. Let's see how Rasmussen's doing. He's still holding on. Looks like he should have it covered unless Klurtzley decides for a do or die move into the final corner, which I don't see too likely. No, it keeps it all clean. Cracking battle for these from these guys for that final podium spot. Simpson in the end takes that podium position. Nicholas Rasmussen fourth, Klurtzley fifth. Cracking job for all three of those guys to yeah keep keep fighting it out all the way through the race and good clean racing all the way through.
Clermont did go down a lap on that very last lap, so he won't be eligible for the reverse grid. We will have the spinning of the wheel, because we love the Wheel of Fortune theme tune, of course, and it's very satisfying to do so. But crucially, he won't be part of that reverse grid. Everyone else will be, yeah, reverse trial, so could make for a very interesting race 2 of the evening. So, winning out for the first time in this championship is Paul Ilbrink. And crucially, maybe even moving ahead of Kevin Nellis into second place in the championship. Can't confirm that, but certainly going to be very close to that achievement. Peter Payman finishes in second place, got the gap down from about 6.5 seconds to 3.5 seconds, but was never really having a chance of catching and passing the race leader. Alex Simpson finishes in third, with Nicholas Rasmussen holding off Mars Klotsley in the final stages in fourth and fifth. Michael Docker finishes in sixth despite a crash. Trevor Clement just dropped a lap down, like I said earlier on, in seventh. Josh Rayfield in eighth. And Matt Bunn, unfortunately, had to retire early on. He finished in ninth place. So, Sam, reverse grid time.
Yep, it's reverse grid wheel time, although I think we will know what is going to happen with this one,
Yes.
considering the options that we have.
There isn't a -1 or anything, is there?
No.
No, okay.
And it's going to be 20, which is going to be full reverse anyways.
Yep, so I said it before, Michael Levdoka will be on pole position for race 2 of the evening. He'll be starting alongside Miles Klotsley. Nicholas Rasmussen and Alex Simpson will be making up the second row, with Peter Bayman and Paul Ilbrink on the third. And then after that will be Clement, Rayfield and Bunn. You will not want to miss race 2 of the evening. Should be fantastic fun once again here at Donington. See you back in about 20 minutes time.
Hi there, I'm Richard Jobling, Senior Software Engineer here at iRacing. I'd like to show you some of the work that we've been doing to improve the collision and the damage in our sim. One of the major changes we've made is how our collision systems work. The old system stored the track as parametric surfaces, and the cars were made of collections of spheres. As the cars moved around the track, we would recompute planes using the track surfaces, and then test those against the spheres. This worked well for spheres, but was too specialized to adapt to our shapes. So for the new system, we've built new high-resolution meshes for each track. This is more efficient and gives us a lot more flexibility for the car shapes. The new mesh incorporates all the track features our guys worked so hard to replicate. Things like curb geometry and changes in the surface material are all baked into the mesh. We've also taken our laser scan data and applied that to the mesh. And since the mesh is so high resolution, we capture all the detail that's necessary so that the tracks are just like the real thing. With our new mesh, we can now represent cars using smooth, convex hulls, which grouped together form the chassis, the bodywork, and all the other parts of the car. The new shapes are a much closer fit to the shape of the real car. During impacts, the shapes can deform according to the damage, and eventually they can break off as separate objects. All the parts, like wings, hoods, and wheels, can also hang from their joints, flapping and vibrating until they eventually snap off. All these changes are going to add a whole new level of realism to our races. If you want to find out more, please visit iRacing.com and check out my blog post for lots more details.
Hi, my name is Greg Hill. I'm the Vice President of Art and Production here at iRacing. This damage project that we've been discussing is certainly a project that involved all hands on deck to pull off. We've got a rather sizable number of cars in our portfolio, and not all of these cars have been built with this dynamic damage system in mind. So what we had to do is one by one go through our race cars, and we had a team of 3 artists, a highly technical modeler, our technical art director, and our associate art director. All took on each car one at a time, and the work involved was researching that car, researching what would happen to that car if it were in a crash, depending on the forces involved in the crash, how severely it would be damaged, what parts might come off, what those pieces might look like when they're removed, what it would look like where the car has areas exposed that were previously covered by bodywork. So they had to do a lot of modeling to each race car, and they had to do a lot of work to essentially set up how the car would react to forces. So essentially setting the strength of the materials. What kind of force would it take to rip off the side pod, for example? Or under what circumstances would this nose cone get ripped off of a car? Or under which would it remain, but just be badly damaged? But all said, it's been a lot of work, but seeing the car models interact with the physics system and the new crash dynamics is really exciting and really cool to see, and definitely makes all that hard work worth it.
Hi, my name is Jose Diaz. I'm a visual effects artist at iRacing. I specialize in particle effects ranging from fireworks to water fountains, debris, crash, impacts, all in the service of improving the driving experience. So you have the main sort of new damage model that Richard's been working on. So that takes into consideration all the mounts and the chassis from the cars and which materials they are. And he's making all the calculations that tell you like, okay, it got hit from this one side and the strength of that impact is this certain amount of values. If you hit something, that means that this mount gets off, something breaks. This gets added on top of that to sort of complement what is happening there with things that you would see in real life when a car crashes. So typically in a car crash, you will see all these little particles of dust, metal, scratches that will take all that force and momentum and kind of explode in a way. And it's all being driven by how fast the car was coming, how hard the impact was against what. That will give you that sense of like, man, that person really crashed hard, or oh, it was just a small bump.
Hi, my name is Chris Lurch. I'm one of the vehicle dynamicists here at iRacing. Our role on the collision project is to tune the collision properties of each and every car to ensure that they behave in wrecks as a real car would. And we've spent quite a bit of time going through literature from the automotive industry on the subject to make sure that we have panels that deform the way they're supposed to, both temporarily and permanently, that pieces that don't deform but rather just break at appropriate times in appropriate ways. The cars are absorbing energy the way they should and aren't sort of bouncing off the walls in crazy ways. The major properties that we look at are stiffnesses, which is how much a piece of the car deforms when a load is applied to it. And then we look at a couple of limits. One is the force limit beyond which the piece deforms permanently. And then the second limit that we look at is the brake limit, the force limit beyond which the piece will simply break. And then we also will look at damping, which is how much the piece absorbs energy versus how much it takes like a spring and can absorb as potential energy and then rebound back out like a basketball would.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to the World F3 Championship from Donington live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again I'm joined alongside by Lee Thompson with Sam Kumar once again on the cameras. And we are just gearing up for race 2 of the evening after race 1 was taken by Paul Ilbrink. Michael Evdoka will be starting on the pole position for this one. And unfortunately, we can't go through the grid because everyone's already on the grid. And so we'll get the lights on and the drivers will be preparing for race 2 of the evening. And away we go. Evdoka with a really nice start. Bayman with a good start as well, right on the inside. Closely should be able to hang on to second position. Can Rasmussen hang it round the outside of Bayman? Almost contact between a number of cars, and there is contact. Bayman just going into the side slightly on Rasmussen and losing out that position crucially. But it's Evdoka leading the way under pressure from Closely down the hill. Now, has Bayman got any damage on that car? Has Rasmussen got any damage on that car potentially? Ilbrink certainly trying to attack straight away with Simpson just behind. He's got a poor start, has Alex dropping down into sixth position as Evdoka loses out to Closely, and that's a crucial move for the race lead. Closely leads the way and almost Evdoka losing it once again.
Yeah, Rear stepped out on turning there. He did well to save it in this very snappy car, but that's allowed Rasmussen to get the run. Looks like he's going to have that second spot secured. Can Berryman follow him straight through as well? He needs to with Ilbrink behind. He tries to make the move. Oh, he has to back out of that at the end. And fortunate there not to get tangled up with Evdoka. But yeah, this is allowing Closely just to try and break away before the quick guys really come through. Evdoka gives Berryman plenty of space. A bit nervous about a dive bomb there, but manages to continue, keeps the momentum a little bit. Didn't really lose too much time by missing the apex. Here comes Berryman again. He goes for that very early inside line. Is Evdoka going to be able to get a good enough drive off the corner to retaliate? He's not. And so that's going to give Berryman the little bit of a moment of respite from Ilbrink and try and just build a little bit of a gap. But yeah, Berryman very, very aggressive in the second half of the lap. They're trying to get away from Ilbrink as quick as he can. But Evdoka's run wide on turn 1, but not quite enough for Ilbrink to get by.
Yeah, Evdoka will be absolutely kicking himself for that first lap and a bit, just making lots of half mistakes, and it's cost him crucially because he was leading, and now just a lap later he's about 2.5 seconds off the lead. Closely, if anything, pulling away ever so slightly as Ilbrink really very close to the back of Evdoka. Simpson staying close as well. Not getting too detached in these early stages either. This is the most likely move. Here comes Ilbrink. Gonna have to go the long way round. Really difficult this, very risky move if you're going to go for this one, because so easy for the inside driver to understeer into you, but Ilbrink with so much more momentum, and once again Evdoka falling offline, and it's the return of this battle, Evdoka versus Simpson. They battled quite a bit in race 1, with Simpson ending up on top, but for now he's having to play second best.
Yeah, and again, Evdoka very, very cautious with the car behind him in the braking zone, left a ton of space on the apex, and Simpson almost just mugged him for it and took that over. So yeah, Evdoka just can afford to be a little bit more aggressive when he's got that couple of attempts still on turning, and just take what's his, take his apex. So Closely still up front, 1.5 second, 1.5 second lead to Rasmussen, who's got Berryman all over the back of him again, just like we saw in race 1 as Berryman recovered. Ilbrink then, he's going to hope that Rasmussen's going to keep Berryman behind him as long as possible so he can get pull himself up to that battle as well, as Simpson sweeps around the outside of Evdoka. Evdoka being a little bit cautious in those last 2 overtakes. He braked quite early, I thought, for Ilbrink, and backed out with there for Simpson as well. So yeah, shuffled all the way back to 6th. It's a bit more of a tough start to the race than we maybe saw from him in race 1, just with his teammate now, Trevor Clement.
Yeah, you can say that Evdoka's not far off the pace from the likes of Closely and Rasmussen. Quite shocking that those two are still leading the way, and yet Evdoka's being shuffled right back, as you said, back to his teammate Clement. Bayman has stuck pretty much a whole lap behind Rasmussen. It's just invited Ilbrink back into this race. It looked as though when Rasmussen was really making some good, when Bayman was making some good progress in the early stages, that this is pretty much going to be job done. Well, this will certainly help him if he can get the move done into turn 1. Rasmussen pretty much giving him that position there. He's a very mature driver, is Nicholas. He's not going to risk anything there. and realizes that he's going to lose that position eventually anyway. May as well give it up quite early. But you can see how Ilbrink straight away onto the back of him. I think he'll make quick work as well. It's great to see Ilbrink really a match for Bayman today, seemingly, because for the majority of the rounds, it's been Bayman pretty much dominating up there. But Ilbrink, don't know if this is just a one-off, but certainly seemed to hitch up the setup today.
Yeah, and that move from Berryman there all stemmed from the final corner. It was crazy how much tighter Berryman was able to be mid-corner to exit, and that just enabled him to jump on the power and really carry all that momentum straight all the way down the front straight. And yeah, that's where the move came from. So yeah, cracking job there. But as you say, Ilbrink already onto the back of Rasmussen, and we can see how desperate he is. A little bit late on the brakes, wanting to get on top of him as soon as he can, but ends up just losing a tenth or so through that corner. And Simpson's pulled himself along with Ilbrink as well now. So actually he's gained one spot of Doka, as we saw a little while ago, and very quickly pulled himself to the back of Ilbrink and Rasmussen. So not that far off the podium, as we see Clement just recovering, I think, from a little half spin on that final corner.
Yeah, he had a bit of an off midway through the lap as well. So a few issues there. And Ilbrink, just like Bayman, staying a whole lap behind Rasmussen. And you can see how quickly Bayman has sprinted away. Purple lap time there, 20.14, 7 tenths faster than Clotesley, which really shows how quick Miles has been today. Certainly a driver who's rapidly improved in this car. And it's all culminated into this race lead. Very impressive, considering that we're already about a fifth of the race in. Feels like it's not going to last too long. Of course, last week we saw it was Witterballs, wasn't it, leading the way. And he very much let... Oh, as Clement has another off, so he's having a bit of a mare out there as well. But last week we saw Witterballs very much let Bayman pass easily, Lee. Do you think Clotesley will do the same, considering that he's in a very similar situation to what Davey was last week?
No, I think he's going to put up a fight, but I'm not sure how much choice in the matter he's going to have, really, as they both squirm under power trying to get off that final corner. So now I think Clotesley's knows he's feeling strong here. He's feeling confident in his circuit, putting in good lap times. He knows he can't hold on for 23 minutes. But yeah, I don't think he'll just step aside and let him by. And talking about Witterballs from last week, unfortunately he's having hardware issues from the sounds of it, and that's why he's not here for the race this week.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him back next week. Few drivers I know, I think, have real-life racing commitments. Can't quite remember who they were. But great to see kind of that correlation. I certainly know the Sim Racers World series as well has a lot of real-life drivers as well. It's fantastic to see those drivers really showing their skills on the sim as well. As neck and neck go the race leaders. Now, will Clotesley defend this one? It looks like he will, down into the chicane. Is he going to be able to defend on the exit, or can Bayman get his car to the inside? Yes, he can. Almost impossible to overtake into this, almost impossible to defend, sorry, into this chicane, because it's ever such a wide circuit, and Clotesley trying to hang it around the outside, but having to drive a much further distance, and now Peter Bayman does lead the way. Ilbrink seemingly simultaneously pulling off the same move. And he does so with relatively ease against Rasmussen. Next up will be Simpson on Rasmussen. Unless Rasmussen can respond here, Ilbrink defending. And should have that one covered from now on.
Yeah, it's looking super, super tight there for that third position. Ilbrink, Rasmussen and Simpson. Rasmussen not giving up. He knows he can get a move done in this first section of the circuit, as we saw in race 1 against Simpson, but runs wide, misses the apex on the previous corner there, and that's allowed Simpson to get up alongside it. Simpson's going to have the inside now for the next corner, and he should have that position sorted.
Yeah, now Docker's staying close to these guys as well. You can see he's right on the tail all of a sudden of Rasmussen. So Rasmussen kind of having the same fate as Docker earlier on, where you kind of just get pushed offline. All of a sudden you're rattling down the positions, despite some really good laps there from Rasmussen. He's already fallen down into 5th position. Top 6 separated by less than 5 seconds. Extremely close, considering that we're already a third into this race. Across half an hour, same length as race 1. I'm sure we've got plenty more action to go. But for Peter Bayman, we'll be hoping for as little action as possible because he was leading race 1 and made a mistake. Don't think that's going to happen once again, but always a possibility.
Yeah, it
And,
looks like sorry, Sam. Looks like Evdoka's got himself sorted from those opening troubles in the first couple of laps. Got himself a bit of a rhythm because we see him now right with Nicholas Rasmussen. So he's not fallen off the back of this group. He's still in the hunt for a 4th position. Really, you know, we've seen how it sort of ebbed and flowed in the last race. And so certainly a little bit of squabbling is going to enable him to come right back into the thick of things. He's closed massively on Rasmussen. Like you said in race 1, that draft in that first half of the circuit is just enabling the guys to claw straight onto the back, and yeah, that's going to be a nice little battle developing now between Evdoka and Rasmussen, just as the battle between Ilbrink and Simpson, sorry, hots up as well.
I feel like it's just my imagination, but I've always felt as though through the corners, the slipstream effect is more strong than down the straight. I think that's just absolutely below me from me. But I always felt as though in the Mazdas, the rookie Mazdas, as everyone started, of course, on iRacing, but you know, around Charlotte Rover, for example, the once you get onto the actual curve, the slipstream effect is that much stronger. I'm sure that's just an illusion. But maybe that is the case around this circuit as well, because there's barely any straights. It is just a constant curve, pretty much, this circuit. And yet the slipstream effect is extremely strong. So almost a mistake there from Simpson. And
Yeah.
he was right on the back of Ilbrink, actually, but that's really, he just at the purple lap time of the race, in fact, was Simpson. He was
Yeah.
right on the charge, but that mistake has ended his momentum completely.
Yeah, so that was his first 1 minute 19 lap of the evening so far, and the first guy in this race to manage to get a 1 minute 19. So as you said, he certainly found a bit of rhythm. He had the draft from Ilbrink, which helped a little bit of that time, but clearly just found the limit and crossed it, unfortunately. And as you say, that's cost him 2.5 seconds and pulling him back into the clutches of Rasmussen and Evdoka. But Evdoka's looking like he's right on the gearbox of Rasmussen as they head towards the S's. In fact, he moves out. Evdoka's got the inside line. Rasmussen breaks super early, just gives him the place, doesn't compete at all. And Evdoka, for now, up into 5th position.
Yeah, and we'll wait to see if Evdoka can keep up with Simpson. But if he keeps on making mistakes like that, he's not going to have much of a chance. It just shows if you run ever so slightly wide through that hairpin, you're absolutely screwed in terms of your lap times because, yeah, it just seems to really lose you quite a bit of time straight away if you don't clip both of the apexes. As closely under big pressure now from Ilbrink. Ilbrink now into the 19. So, if Ilbrink can get this move done, he might be able to challenge Peter Bayman. We saw in race 1, it seemed as though as the race went on, Ilbrink gained confidence. Maybe that's due to the fact that he's running a little bit less camber, so degrading the tyres slightly less. Maybe it's his endurance skill. Oh, as round goes Clotesley, Ilbrink just about avoids him, but Clotesley is going to drop way down the field. I think he's going to drop behind Evdoka and Rasmussen potentially, as Rasmussen goes right down the inside here. These two had a fantastic battle in race 1 where Rasmussen ended up on top, and they're going side by side once again down the back straight. Closely with significantly better straight line speed, pulling ahead and should have that one easily down into the hairpin.
Yeah, but Rasmussen trying to get the cutback on the exit of the S's. We saw how strong he was in race 1 on the exit of the S's there as a look up the inside, but not quite late enough and deep enough on the brakes. So yeah, unfortunate for Klutsley there. You know, they've been having a good strong race, that little error, but equally he then did a good job. Once he started spinning, he just hit the brakes. That makes sure then that the car keeps its original trajectory, and that enabled Ilbrink to get safely past as he has another error, I think with overheated tyres, and Rasmussen now does get by. So yeah, luckily for Ilbrink managing to get by initially, and he's got 3 seconds to try and gain on Berriman. But Klutsley and Rasmussen still battling away. Klutsley came back at him into turn 1. A little bit of a touching of front left and right rear. Rasmussen going to have the inside line initially here, and now Klutsley's got the high ground, and Rasmussen just misses the apex as well, runs out of road on the exit. So yeah, that little move continued for a good few corners there.
Yeah, it was a nice move from the CQR Sim Sports driver. Unfortunately, his CQR teammate, Matt Bunn, couldn't take this session, couldn't take part in this race. Not quite sure why, maybe fed up with the car. We have seen that excuse a few times this season. I know Kevin Ellis was not best pleased in one of the rounds at the America, made quite a sudden end to his race. A mistake for top was annoying because he was keeping back to Simpson. But that's really the pressure. And now it's going to have to battle between these guys. Because established himself as a faster driver, maybe than Rasmussen. But he's going to have to say that was take just once again.
Now then that Trevor Clement has unfortunately dropped out as well. But as you say, these three cars are looking like they're going to continue squabbling for a little while longer. Yet every car that time by, apart from Simpson in the 20s or lower. So yeah, Simpson, good clean, good fast lap again. But I'm guessing an off track because it didn't record as his fastest lap. So yeah, Simpson's got himself into the groove a little bit now. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be a little bit too much to claw onto the back of Ilbrink in that second position. So, yeah, Berriman, then Ilbrink, then Simpson, then Klertzley, who we're looking at just a second ago, then Rasmussen, then Evdoka now, and yeah, this last position. So these three cars all battling to make sure they don't finish at the back of the field.
Yeah, if anything, Simpson's the fastest driver out there. And in fact, Bayman, the only driver out of the top three who hasn't set a 19 so far, as Evdoka and Rasmussen getting ever so close. Rasmussen has been very generous to his opponents so far today, very much letting them pass whenever they've kind of drawn alongside. That time, not leaving a lot of space for the TechSense Pitstone Motorsport driver. But I'm sure he's going to try to come back once again as Evdoka. These two were, yeah, a bit slower than closely on that last lap. And if we could just go back to the race start with Berryman, because we saw him make a little bit of contact, and I just wonder if that's maybe compromising his lap times, maybe whether he's got a bit of damage on that car. And yeah, this is how it was for Berryman. Got a fantastic start initially. You'll see how Simpson really didn't get away whatsoever. Awful start for him. Raymond managed to go down the inside of Rasmussen. But unfortunately, a little bit of contact seemingly. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was quite significant, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely see the Berriman's car react. It had a little jump to it, didn't it, as the contact happened. So for sure he could have... I mean, it looked wheel to wheel, but yeah, maybe it's just knocked something. I can't see anything visually on the car, as Evdoka has another tough second race, spinning from the last position, and that is going to be him out of the battle now for that fourth spot. As you said, yeah, perhaps Berriman just struggling a little bit, but you know, he's putting in consistent, still quick times. He's got just about 3 seconds over Paul Ilbrink still. So he's looking like he's managing any damage he might have quite happily indeed. Ilbrink has closed, Simpson rather, has closed on Ilbrink that a little bit more in the last lap or so. So down to just over a second now. So yeah, Simpson's got himself hooked up and is seeing a radical in his sights.
Yeah, I'm sure after Apex Racing UK managed to make a 1-2-3 in race 1 at Imola last week. That's not going to be possible in this one, but a 1-2 would still be very welcome. Ilbrink and Simpson have been a fantastic round, so I'd certainly say that's been the duel of the season. Really have been so evenly matched at the majority of the rounds, and we're seeing the same thing today at Donington. And Ilbrink, after seemingly closing in a bit on Bayman earlier on, in fact, actually on this lap, quite a bit faster actually is Ilbrink. We'll wait to see what the lap times are, but so far this is lining up to be quite a significant gap cuts, as Bayman does a 20.43, Ilbrink a 19.99, so that's half a second faster, gap down to 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. So well spotted there during the lap. You're absolutely right. But he's pulling Simpson along with him as well. Simpson was less than a tenth slower than Ilbrink that time by as well. So he's closing on Berriman just the same. And yeah, this we've got 10 minutes still to go of a race, so there's opportunity for this to develop, and we could end up with a three-car squabble for the race win here, which would be quite a development. So it looked like it spread out a little bit too much early on, but now they're just gradually working their way back together. Otherwise, there's not much else going on between the next three guys, 4th, 5th, and 6th, with a little issue for Doka a minute ago. That was putting way out of contention, and Rasmussen just hasn't got the pace of Klurtzley. So we're going to be watching the top three, I dare say, for the rest of the race now to see how we can keep closing. Down to 2.5 seconds now between Berryman and Ilbrink, as Evdoka has yet another issue, and I think has now decided enough is enough. And unfortunately, that is both TechSense Fitzy Motorsport cars out of race 2.
Yeah, disappointing to see that. Only 5 drivers remaining in this race. So, of course, like we said earlier, I will just add, 3 of the remaining 5 drivers are World Championship drivers, and one of them has several times been very close to achieving World Championship license, and Miles Clotesley is none of them. So, and he's one of the fastest drivers out there on circuit. So that just shows the quality of the field out there. But of course, if you do feel like doing the last 3 rounds, next up we head to Suzuka, and that's a great fun circuit. No matter what car in it, you drive it around. Yeah, that's a fantastic circuit. So certainly want to be around for that. And yeah, just a word on Suzuka, Lee. It's a legendary single-seater circuit, undoubtedly. In these F3 cars, it's going to be you're going to be flat out the majority of the S's. It's going to be quite a unique experience when these drivers are so used to using, for example, the F1 car around there.
Yeah, like you say, in the F1 car, for sure, you're gradually working that speed down all the way up the S's as you head towards Dunlop, and it's not until you get into Dunlop Corner that then you're really on the power and building that speed back up again. Yeah, in these F3 cars, it'll be interesting to see. I dare say for the last right-hander of the S's, I bet they'll have to scrub a little bit of speed off, but let's say it's been crazy to see how quick they've been going through like Craner curves and stuff here, so maybe it's not going to be so bad. And then, like you say, then the circuit just opens up into these massive long straights, firstly leading up to Spoon Curve, and then, of course, leading to 130R. So they're just going to be flat out all the way through that second section of the circuit, pretty much. And we're going to see a huge amount of drafting going up. We've seen how powerful it's been here at Donington. It's going to be amplified again now, I think, at Suzuka. But like I say, it's going to be a cracking circuit for them to drive, pretty similar to here, really, where it's fast and flowing, just that bit longer straights in between breaking up the corners as well. And I think we're going to see some back and forth switching, a bit like Spa with the constant toes that we'll be seeing.
Yeah, should be good fun, that one. A circuit that everyone enjoys, I think, Suzuka. It's probably, I'd say it's probably the only universally loved circuit out there. I know that some people, particularly, well, I was about to say, there's a few kind of American drivers, I believe, who dislike Spa. I don't know how. And some people even say that since the renovations, I heard some F1 pundits saying, since the renovations back in 2003, it's not really the same as it once was because they've extended the runoff areas. I'd say it's still an absolutely awesome circuit, is Spa. Still keeps all of the elements it once had, along with, of course, being significantly safer than it used to be. But yeah, few drivers don't like it, surprisingly, but certainly Suzuka, quite incredible how you think of every single corner, that every corner's fantastic. There's literally not a single corner which you don't absolutely enjoy racing around or enjoy watching on TV. So absolutely superb circuit to go to for round 8 of the season, and then we'll have rounds 9 and 10 at Nürburgring GP, and Alton Park will be the finale. That'll be good fun.
Yeah, again, perfect circuit, as you say, for these F3 cars, or Ilbrink might get a slowdown penalty there, as he took a huge amount of second apex on the S's, but he's kept his foot in for now. So unless he tries to just use that up in the hairpin, he maybe, I don't know, maybe did. Simpson closed a fair chunk on him, I think, there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to find out later on, but for sure, a little bit of an error for Ilbrink, and now Simpson is within a sniff of trying to get that second position. Yeah, Ilbrink definitely lost a second, by the way. So yeah, for sure he had an issue.
Yeah, really just. Oh, dear. Now
Oh,
Simpson nearly
just
spins
when the
again.
opportunity presented itself.
Ah, it's getting quite frustrating now with this battle. Every time we seem to get a couple of cars close to one another, just seem to make a small mistake. And Simpson, once again, like he did earlier on, really saving that one straight away. I guess just straight away putting on full brakes, and it just prevents the car from spinning whatsoever. We're now 3 seconds between second and third, 3 seconds between first and second, and then you got 7 seconds between third and fourth as Bayman is off.
Oh, and
Gosh.
just as I was about to say, well, what should we talk about next then to keep ourselves entertained? Berriman mixes things up, like you say. He had a big issue there at the back of the circuit. We'll have a look in a minute, no doubt. I can't see any immediate damage on the car, but let's see what happens as he goes flat through the left-hander, then slowing it down a gear or two for the right, runs out over plenty of curb, but he's fine for now. Up to the crest, down a gear again, misses the best of the apex, didn't really get on the curb there, and somehow just touched the grass. He'd completed the corner really, and then he was in, just a flat-out section, and just a lapse of concentration maybe, and left rear, sorry, touched the grass for a minute into the spin, and all of a sudden that has put him down into third. Paul Ilbrink takes over the lead, 3.5 seconds clear of Simpson, and then Berriman has got a second and a half to catch on Simpson if he wants to get that second spot. Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing all this season, aren't we? And some of it's we're seeing through participation as well, that it's just this car isn't quite right, unfortunately. iRacing have got a little bit of work to do to make this car that we've all been waiting for so long. I mean, yeah, F3 car has been in high demand for iRacing to provide, and there's just something not quite right about it. We're seeing these top world championship drivers desperately trying to hang on these cars and making uncharacteristic mistakes. You're gonna, when you see it to be quantity that we have in this series, you've got to put it down to the car. So hopefully iRacing will be able to identify what isn't quite right about it, get it sorted, and hopefully it'll be a more enjoyable car for the masses to drive, not just the elite that can just barely hang on to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure if it's too much. I think it's too much mechanical downforce. A lot of people have been. Oh no, sorry, too much aerodynamic downforce. Apparently, it's reliance on, which causes pretty much everyone to use high downforce setups constantly, and that's just not quite realistic. Hopefully, the new tire model will somewhat improve that. I imagine there'll be quite a few modifications that iRacing will have to make to various cars because they've kind of been working around the tire model for quite a while now due to those deficiencies. But hopefully that will significantly improve things. I know it's got pretty good feedback on the Skip Barber from what I've seen, although I haven't seen too much of the reception of it. But usually, if there's no talk of it, it usually means that it's good because if there's ever so slightly something wrong with iRacing, guaranteed you will hear about it from various sources. But no, it's looking like Time Model 7 is it's looking like quite an improvement. Of course, we will also have the damage model as well for this car. Already, you can lose parts of the car, which is good. Although not all the parts that will eventually be available to lose. But eventually, they instead of just vanishing magically, they will stay on the circuit as well. Hopefully, I'm certainly hoping for safety cars as well, where if you got a piece of the car on the circuit, obviously you need to slow down the cars and whatnot. So hopefully that'll be an element, but that's probably a little while away.
And so have they said then that those are going to be collidable objects once they are disconnected from the cars?
I would have thought. I doubt you'd be able to drive straight through now. I don't think iRacing will want to have have their product out there on broadcast and whatnot, and drivers doing such unrealistic things. But I don't know, to be honest. You'd think on the oval side, if you lose like a fender or whatever, or a splitter, that would cause an automatic caution. But I'm not sure. They haven't confirmed anything like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if they do make those parts collidable, then it's going to be absolutely critical that the coding and the net code or whatever is correct, and that everybody sees that part in the same exact place on the circuit. Otherwise, it's just going to be a nonsense if you get any debris in the circuit. But yeah, fingers crossed that that'll be a good addition to come. So where is Paul Ilbrink on the circuit? He's just about going to squeeze out this final lap, isn't he? So yeah, we're going to have one more lap after the one that we're on. Peter Berriman still trying to plod around in third. He hasn't actually closed on Simpson at all, so I think he has decided that he's made one mistake too many, and he's just going to hold fire in that third position. But you can see Klötzli there in the background. He is not far back at all, to be fair. Cracking job again from him. I said the same, I think, last week. You look at iRatings of who's remaining in this session. 6,300, 5,800, 8,400 for Peter Berriman, 5,300 for Rasmussen, and the lone other survivor is Miles Klötzli here with 2,800, only just over half of the lowest iRating of the remaining drivers. And he's absolutely shown that he's had some cracking pace here at Donington, and in fact was fastest car last time by on the circuit. So yeah, great job from Miles. It's just tough with these cars for those little errors really punishing them.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully we'll see him in more leagues on Apex Racing TV, part of CQR Sim Sports. So hopefully they'll drag him into the Kia or the Mazda perhaps, and we'll see a bit more of him. But out in the lead, Paul Ilbrink for Radicals Online. He's going to make it 2 out of 2. Before today, he hadn't won a race this season, but due to a couple of Pete Bayman mistakes, he's been able to inherit both races, and Paul Ilbrink will win both races here at Donington. And well done to him. Closely. Oh dear.
Curse.
Well, that's yeah. Simpson was second, Bayman third, and a bit distant was Clotesly in fourth position, humiliating us, and particularly Lee. Yeah, we don't really know what we're talking about, but nonetheless, good effort there from Miles, and maybe he heard the broadcast or something. Still feels so he can do a few donuts in celebration though. And well, due to the fact that there were only 5 cars out there by the finish, we can actually go through the results very quickly. And well, yeah, these results aren't going to take too long either, because Paul Ilbrink was the race winner, 7 seconds clear in the end of Alex Simpson. You just think though, Simpson got right onto the back of Ilbrink. Ilbrink got a slow down. Simpson got right up to the back of him, was within about half a second, and made a mistake by himself, and that in the end lost him a chance at the race when Peter Bayman was in third position after leading for so much of first and second races. Completely self-mistake, admittedly just dipping a wheel onto the grass both times. He finishes on the last step of the podium. Still very good for his championship. Miles Clotesly finished in 4th place, with Nicholas Rasmussen in 5th place, and then the retirees were Evdoka, Clement and Rayfield. Now usually we get interviews with the drivers, and you can always rely on our co-commentator Alex Simpson to give us a word. And Alex will, yeah, good race for you in the end. Just to explain what was going on in race 1, because you seem to be struggling a little bit for pace, whereas in that second race you were looking like you were pretty much the fastest driver on circuit.
It's just the damage. We're getting phantom damage. Pete had it in race 2 as well, and so did I after I hit the inside curb. Car just loses a second a lap out of nowhere. So I don't really know what the heck that was about, but yeah, I just had no straight line speed in race 1. So like in the draft, I was even struggling to keep up with people. It wasn't until I got to about 2/10 behind could I actually close up. So yeah, really tough first race. Fun. I enjoyed the fight with Nicholas, that was for sure. I always enjoy a round the outside move, that's for sure. So, but then of course tried to do the same to me. So I was like, but yeah, no. So that was good, and to get third. But yeah, and then the second race, like you say, the pace was really good. I just made a little mistake, caught that inside curb, and then all of a sudden, again, it was probably a quarter of a second, nothing much. But it was definitely noticeable, because all of a sudden, from being able to reel Paul in every lap, I was losing a 10th or 2 every lap. I was like, what's going on? Kept making mistakes, which kept it alive, and then I clocked it again, and then that was it. I was a second lap down then. I was like, oh gee. So yeah, so something weird going on with the curb contacts on the car today. Yeah, so like I said, Pete got it I think on lap 1 or 2. Wasn't able to pull away, but yeah, and then was absolutely pushing like crazy, and that's why he made his mistake. But yeah, I think I want to say I think Rasmussen might have had it in the second race there as well, because he didn't seem like he had a great deal of straight on speed. So yeah, some weird damage going on. But hey, I'll take 2 podiums and 4 podiums for the team. That's all we want to do. You know, 3 race meetings left. We're coming here with a goal, and you know we're doing what we need to do.
Yeah, you're getting really close now to that championship title. I'm not quite sure what the exact team points are, but for yourself in the Drivers' Championship, it's hotting up actually for second place now. You're going to be very close to Nicholas now after today, close to Kevin as well, and I think maybe Paul just inheriting that second position. So it's a nice 4-way battle between you guys.
Yeah, it is. I'll be interested to see what the positions are like. Obviously, we've got drop weeks to come in. I know I had an absolute shocker at Monza, so it'd be good to get rid of that. But yeah, I think Paul probably will be edging us at the moment, to be honest, because he's had more consistent weeks than I have, certainly. So I certainly remember him beating me more than I've beat him this season. But it has been a good mix. But we're still yet to go toe to toe. I think we made that contact at Interlagos, but apart from that, we haven't had like. I just keep, he's either involved in something, or I'm involved in something, or or I'm bottling it more to the point.
Yeah, unfortunately, that turn 1 slight mistake. But of course, like you said, the phantom damage certainly costing you a lot. Next up, we head to Suzuka. One that you go well round, or one that you're not so much?
Yeah, probably Suzuka's my most favourite circuit. I don't know if it's necessarily what I perform the best at, but I really do enjoy it. I mean, I certainly had my best world championship result there. I think that was like 6th. Back in the day in the old Williams FW31. But yeah, so good memories of that. It's all about getting the car right there. Obviously the car's a bit weird with how you set it up and how it's going to react over some of the curbs. I think like Degners are going to be interesting, that's for sure, because you obviously want to clip the curbs there, and you can easily get sort of train tracked on some of them. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a pain. And then how the car reacts in the final chicane as well. So if it's pliable over the curbs, it's going to be a lot of fun, but we're having to try and avoid them like the plague, which is basically what we were doing today. It's not going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it could be quite a challenge for you drivers next week, and I certainly look forward to that. But before we let you go, Alex, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, to you guys for doing the broadcast, for Matt putting on the series as always, Social Proof and Simmortal for sponsoring the series, Peter for working on the set, Kev's away doing Neo preparation for our 24-hour race, but thanks to him as always. And thanks to the team sponsors as well. So I've got to remember the new ones: Logitech DG, Speedcaf.com, SDK Gaming, Computers, PC Systems.
Thanks, Alex. And
Just before you go, Alex, you mentioned the Neo 24-hour this weekend. Yeah, going to be at Le Mans. You're going to be one of the drivers for the ART crew. How are the guys feeling? What's your thoughts about going into the race at the weekend?
We're confident. We've got a little bit of a hardware issue with one of the drivers that might make us do some extra stints, but we're trying to work that out quickly. Bit of a last minute panic, so hopefully we can get that resolved. But yeah, if we can have all 4 drivers on the grid, I feel like we've got a really strong chance of doing that. What that will do for us in terms of the championship, I don't know. I don't want to wish ill on anyone, but if Ava decide they want to crash out for us, that'd be great.
Double points, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to have a chance, I imagine. So certainly good luck for that, and see you next week.
Thanks very much. See you guys.
Okay. Well, next up we'll have a chat with Paul Ilbrink. Leo, are you happy to take this one?
Yeah, certainly. Congratulations on your double victory for the night. Paul, looked like you were pretty strong all the way through, but we could see not making errors really was the name of the game to get the win tonight. Looked like everyone was struggling a little bit out there.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks. I don't know. I just prepared for this week with like a car that was like relatively safe, especially in that fast chicane. And yeah, I'm not sure what Peter's issues were, but messed it up twice, and I could profit of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And say, despite the small field that we're unfortunately just having at the end of the series here, there's still great racing that you got involved in. We're just watching the beginning of race 2 with you battling along with Alex and Peter. Looks like some good clean racing out there as normal, which you'd expect for these calibers of drivers. But how are the cars coping with this this close fighting? Obviously, we know there's a couple of issues here and there with this iRacing version.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a shame that the participation dropped so much, but I guess I'm like lucky that I have like great people that are around my pace, like Peter and Alex, to race with still. But yeah, I don't know. I don't mind driving the car too much, and I still enjoy it. So I'll just keep going and have a good finish to the season.
Excellent. Well, say certainly is looking like you're finishing strong so far. Yeah, we also were very glad for the strong competition that you guys are having, and yeah, even with a small field, we're seeing some cracking racing out there. Good job. So we're off to Suzuka next week, Paul. You've got obviously lots of experience there in the WCS, let alone elsewhere. How are you feeling about running this car at Suzuka?
I don't know. I have done some laps, but it's like a couple of months ago there, so I'm not sure how it will be now. But I don't mind driving as long as you have a good competition. I don't really care too much like where we race, and Suzuka is a nice track, so hopefully it provides some close racing there as well.
Excellent. Well, we hope so too. Right. So who would you like to give a shout out to, Paul, before we finish up?
Shout out to all my teammates at Radicals Online and our partners, Cranfield, Joe Real Timing, Esther, Simrace, ModeF Podcast, Turn Racing, Six Sideways, Simmortal, and Arma Gear, and of course series sponsors and you guys for doing the broadcast.
Excellent. Thanks very much. So we look forward to seeing you again next week, battling for the victory again. Cheers, Paul.
Thanks.
So I think our last interview is going to be with Nicholas Rasmussen. And Nicholas, well done out there for those 2 finishes. Alex was saying earlier on how there was some phantom damage that a few drivers were suffering from out there. He suspected that you may have had some kind of issue in race 2. Was that the case?
Yeah, I'm quite sure it was. I had a little bit of contact into turn 1. I don't think that was what affected the car because it felt okay for the first lap or 2, and then all of a sudden I just lost speed, which was like super weird. I had no pace in the car, lost the top end speed as well, and you know, my turkey was cooked at that point. Wasn't really anything I could do, no point fighting everyone too hard. So I just got it home. A bit annoying, but I mean, I had a good race in the first race with Alex in particular. Really enjoyable battle. So I'll take that with me, and I had a lot of fun today, which is the most important thing, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked good fun in terms of the racing out there because it's not so easy to overtake around this circuit necessarily. And you and Alex, in particular, around that first half of the lap, were side by side through multiple corners. It was great to watch from the booth.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, all of the drivers obviously it wasn't very many, unfortunately, but the drivers in this race are all very talented. You can really trust them, and you can allow yourself to have some really close racing with them. So that's what made this league here such an amazing place. And I hope everybody appreciates all the work that's been put behind this league here to make it happen. I hope we get more participation at the end of the season, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. You're already in a pretty good position in the championship going into this round, and with your consistent results once again, I think you're going to be up into 3rd position potentially in the championship. second position is looking possible. Is that your aim, perhaps?
I would like a top 3. I know it's going to be difficult because in order to do that, I got to beat some fast drivers. I know Paul Ilbrink did fantastic today, and I think we're fairly close in points, and same with Alex, and they both finished ahead of me today, which is obviously not what I want for the championship position, but there's still a few races to go, and we will give it everything we have, and see where we are at the end, hopefully in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely. You're giving yourself a very good opportunity at the moment with these consistent results. And yeah, before we say goodbye, Nicholas, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, again, as I mentioned before, a huge thanks to the organizers of this entire championship. I'll do everything I can to support it, and so will my team NHR Esports. I gotta thank the team sponsors, Cranfield Simulations, Newman Racing, and Extreme Gameware. And obviously you guys for making the broadcast happen. Hope to see you guys next week, and yeah, I think that's it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nicholas. And yeah, like I said, I hope to see you next week.
Absolutely, man. See ya.
So I think that pretty much rounds us off for the evening. And like we quite often see, a small field still producing really good racing. I'll say it was very kind of tense throughout those 2 races because we knew a mistake was possible from any one of the drivers at any point, and in the end that proved decisive in both races.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Paul Wilbrink was bang on with what you were saying a minute ago, that we're pretty fortunate that, you know, within this small field we've got such competitive drivers. You know, we've got always the opportunity for some decent battles that we've been seeing all week as I remove the toy from the puppy's mouth. And as you say, it's really all you need is 2 cars battling away and they can get the job done, and we've been seeing it all night long. It was some fantastic racing, but as I said, not just for the race win. You know, we saw Evdoka and Miles as well, you know, battling hard all night long, along with Rasmussen, of course. And it was, so as long as these guys can sterling us these last couple of races as the season comes towards an end, and we're going to be looking forward to each race. And like this next week, as we've been saying, I think it'll be more of the same that we've seen here, a little bit more draft. So it's going to be so tough for people to pull away, and hopefully the car will be drivable enough that, you know, they're not going to be on knife edge the whole time, and not lose out in positions that they feel they should be.
It should be fun next time out at Suzuka. You have some very long straight slips from very prominent, and will always good in these Suzuka cars. As
Yeah, I think we're struggling a little bit on Discord as a reference service. Little internet gremlins all night for everybody, I think it seemed like. But we've managed to survive this. We look forward to seeing everybody next week at Suzuka. Don't forget as well that if you enjoy our stream, do make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like our page on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The tag